Good evening, Namo Buddhaya. My apologies for some technical issues earlier. Once again, welcome to this January session of the BMSM monthly online Dhamma talk. We are very privileged this evening to have Bhante G. Chandima to guide us. Sorry, just hold on a second. I'm still having some technical issues here. Namo Buddhaya, can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, very clear now.
Yes.
Okay.
Very clear.
Very sorry for the technical hitch. Now that I think my connection is better. Namo Buddhaya, Happy New Year, and welcome to the January BMSM online Dhamma session. This evening, we are privileged to have Bhante Dr. G. Chandima to start off our monthly online Dhamma talks. Before we proceed, and as usual, we will first commence with a short metta meditation session guided by Bhante Mahinda. Let's compose ourselves while we await the recording to be played.
Please keep your body upright. Adjust your body to an upright and relaxed position. Keep your head upright, just tuck in your chin a little. Feel your shoulder joints relax. You may choose to close or half close your eyes. Bring your attention within. Bring your attention close to your hearts and observe a sense of calm and quietness. Remain in this state of mind with clear awareness. Whatever phenomena that arises, the sounds that you hear, feeling, sensation that arises, just be aware. Your mind is not disturbed, not distracted. In this state of calmness, you will now commence the practice of metta or loving kindness. wishing yourselves to be well and happy. As you tell yourselves to be well and happy, feel a sense of well-being and keep a smile throughout your practice. Be free from anger, free from enmity, from hatred and grudges. Be free from sufferings, from fear, worries and anxieties, and just dwell in calm and peace. Just as you wish to be well and happy, calm and peaceful, you will now radiate thoughts of loving kindness in all the directions, above, below, and all around you. Fill the whole space around you with your aura of calm and peace, and have the good wish that may all beings be well and happy. Going beyond the space around you, you will now extend loving kindness to the whole vihara, the house or building wherever you are, and have the good wish that all beings that are present here, may they be well and happy. May they be free from harm and dangers. Now extend your thoughts of loving kindness to all the surrounding areas, all the neighborhood, reaching out to the whole country, that all beings be well and happy. May they be free from harm and dangers. May they dwell in peace and harmony. Going beyond the country to all the neighboring countries, all the neighboring islands, covering the whole world, and all the realms of existence, known or unknown to us, seen or unseen, that may all beings be well and happy. May they be free from harm and dangers. May they dwell in peace and harmony. In the calmness of your minds, you may now turn your attention to develop mindfulness on breathing in and breathing out. As you breathe in and out, just relax and be mindful of the in and out breath. As soon as you become aware that your mind has wandered off, mindfully return your attention to your breath. Just continue your practice for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Please keep You will now prepare yourselves to come out of your meditation, removing the focus from your breath. You will return your attention to your body. Feel the touch that you make with your cushions and seats, and slowly open your eyes. Be wide awake. Maintain the calmness, maintain the quietness within.
Once again, welcome to those who have just joined us. We are blessed to have Bhante Chandima to guide us on how to keep our Dhamma journey simple, fluid, and continuous. He will speak on the topic, how to stop being hard on the Dhamma journey. But before we commence, allow me to introduce you to Bhante Chandima. Bhante is actually quite already known to quite a number of you, as he has gone on the Dhamma speaking circuit upon his recent arrival on our shores. Bhante is currently the senior advisor to Patisota, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussions, Dhamma talks, and a variety of other Dharma activities. He is also the associate editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies, which is published by the Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn, Java Vidyalaya University in Thailand. He was previously a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society, University of Victoria, Canada, and also the Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada, from 2012 to 2016. I now respectfully invite Bhante Chandima to give us his Dhamma talk. Bhante.
Thank you very much, Brother K. Lim, Dhamma School at BMSM. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dhamma, homage to the Sangha. Happy New Year, Dhamma friends, and a good evening. And we are wishing lots of blessings on the 1st of January. In Buddhism, of course, we have two types of blessings. One is what you call blessings that you expect through chanting, which is the commonplace. The second type of blessings are mostly skillful blessings. As you understand, according to Mangala Sutta, there are 38 blessings that do not come automatically, in which you have to do something. So I hope that you are working on these two types of blessings to make your year a very blissful, fruitful year. Right, so we will get started with the topic. The topic for today's talk is going to be, as Brother Lim mentioned, how to stop being hard on Dhamma journey, on your Dhamma journey. All right, so before we get started, we are going to pay respect to the Buddha in Pali. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. All right, so how to stop being hard on Dhamma journey? First of all, we need to understand whether this is a relevant question. Is this a relevant question to all of you? Have you ever felt that your Dhamma journey is kind of stagnant, probably halted due to some reasons? You may have noticed that. For some people, they might have noticed, they might have not noticed it, but according to the Buddhist teachings, especially from a couple of suttas, we understand that this is very relevant. This is a relevant question. And the other side of being hard is being too soft. So being too soft in your Dhamma practice and being too hard on your Dhamma practice are two polar ends, two polar issues in the path. Now, for those who cannot even understand this question, I probably simplify this in this way. Have you ever heard when some people say that I want to be a little serious of my Dhamma practice? Sometimes they want to be too serious about their Dhamma practice. So this, the word, probably the thought of being serious, too serious, little serious, probably come from a thought of wanting to be little hard on the practice. And the Buddha always mentioned to his followers in his suttas that nobody should be hard on their Dhamma practice. They should neither be hard nor soft in their Dhamma practice. Because if they're going to be hard on their Dhamma practice, there comes restlessness. What is it? Restlessness. You are too much bothered by certain things that you are engaged with. We call that in Pali as uddhacha. Uddhacha. U-D-D-H-A-C-C-C. What is it? It is a hindrance. It is one of the hindrances that you have to, that you are trying to overcome when you practice meditation. And when you are too soft, too slack in your Dhamma practice, then what happens to you is that you will be becoming more lazy. We call it as tina and middha. They are also hindrances. That means nothing is good when you are doing too much, even the Dhamma practice. So that is why we have to understand a kind of a perfect balance, at least a certain relevance to this balance from the Buddhist teachings. So I have prepared some notes to understand this a little bit. All right. The first question that I wanted to ask is, what actually is a Dhamma journey? Now, I mean, in order to understand where is my Dhamma journey getting sort of stagnated, sort of hard, we have to find out what is a Dhamma journey. What do you think? You might probably think that your Dhamma journey is what you really want to do. But should we have a very, what do you call, a certain similar framework that we have to follow in terms of our Dhamma journey? We may have to, right? So Dhamma journey is not only a meditation. It is mainly about the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path, right? The Noble Eightfold Path has all the things, meditation, right? Dana, and it's inclusive of all the virtues that you have been practicing in your life. But there's a framework. The framework is the Noble Eightfold Path. Because if you do not practice your Dhamma journey according to the framework of the Noble Eightfold Path, then only you might go hard on certain aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is not necessary. That's a very good indication to understand how certain people over-practice certain elements of the path. So Dhamma journey should have a framework. That framework is the Noble Eightfold Path. So we have to practice the Noble Eightfold Path as a whole, not cherry pick one or two. So one of the biggest mistakes in many people's practices is that they cherry pick certain preferred, desired practices out of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is not, advisable. The second thing is, should I adhere to the rituals and doctrines of specific Buddhist schools, or should I concentrate solely on early Buddhism, the foundation of school Buddhism? This is a very interesting question. I know that you may come from Mahayana backgrounds, probably Theravada backgrounds. But if you really want to understand the true Buddhist teachings, according to the text, it is better to take a look at the early Buddhist texts. How do we differentiate early Buddhism from Theravada? Is Theravada and early Buddhism, are they similar? There are a lot of similarities, but you see that early Buddhism is very unique. Early Buddhism means the first four Nikayas, fundamentally. Diga, Majjhima, Samyutta, Anguttara. They are what we primarily understand as the early Buddhism. Khuddaka Nikaya may have some of the early Buddhist teachings, but not as a whole. And Abhidhamma Pitaka, we call it as a Theravada addition to emphasize certain aspects. In Abhidhamma Pitaka, you don't see a Kamabhogi Gihiya, not particular Gihi teachings, lay people teachings. They're all very highly philosophized teachings of the certain doctrines that are mentioned in the Sutta Pitaka. So I would advise you to think about first four Nikayas when you are focusing on your Dhamma journey. Then it's going to be very smooth in the first place. Because before you try to think about where I'm getting hard, where I'm going to get stagnated, you have to know what content should I need to understand to streamline my practice. Then there come these four Nikayas. So your emphasis is the Noble Eightfold Path. And in order to understand the Noble Eightfold Path, you are primarily looking at the first four Nikayas. Primarily. I'm not saying not to go to Abhidhamma. I'm saying primary place is the first four Nikayas. So when people start off their Dhamma journey from Abhidhamma Pitaka, from Abhidhamma, then there are certain issues that can come. Because Abhidhamma Pitaka is an analysis, at the same time a synthesis of the Sutta Pitaka's certain teachings. So if you don't know those teachings and directly go to Abhidhamma Pitaka, it is not an advisable move. So for people like you, lay people, who may not have lots of time, I advise you to, based on the teachings of the Noble Eightfold Path, primarily from the first four Nikayas of the Sutta Pitaka, right? Because it is said that the first four Nikayas are considered as the Nikaya Buddhism, early Buddhism, from which all the other Theravada schools, Mahayana schools come from. So if you touch something from a later part of the teaching rather than from the original part of the teaching, you might understand. You might not understand the true teachings. Actually, you might understand kind of an adulterated, refined version of the early Buddhism. So better to look at the first four Nikayas to understand the Noble Eightfold Path, because that is your Dhamma journey. That should be your Dhamma journey. Are there any essential components that comprise my Dhamma practice? Or can one develop their own approach to practicing Dhamma? What do you think? I think a lot of people pick the second. They might say, this is what I like, so I'm going to continue. That is freedom. But the problem is when it comes to this smooth, seamless, continuous, constant Dhamma journey, it is better to have a launch pad, kind of a framework to start off, continue, practice. Otherwise, you will pick this and that, finally you getting crashed somewhere in your Dhamma journey. You may still go to the Vihara, you may still go to retreats, but you don't feel something is going. You don't feel that there's a transformation happening. Why? You haven't started off from the right place. And you haven't been learning the true, right, proper areas of the Dhamma. So I would say it is better to have the framework. That framework is the Noble Eightfold Path. I think all of you know the Noble Eightfold Path. But what you might not know is the, what you call, the integrated practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path is not a standalone practice. Right? It is an integrated practice, combined practice. All are connected. That means you have to practice first one by one and at a certain time simultaneously, all together. Now, if you have been already thinking that my Dhamma journey is only a chanting journey or a meditation journey, that is going to be a red flag. That's what I mentioned. That's why I'm mentioning this Noble Eightfold Path. If it is only a chanting journey, if it is only just a mere samatha vipassana practice journey, if it is only a ritual, only, because we need all that too, then you have already got caught up. You have been already tired. You have been already hard on your Dhamma practice, which might not propel you to go to the next level of your Dhamma practice. This is the same thing I mentioned. I prefer listening to Dhamma to chanting. I prefer meditating to listen to Dhamma. What should be the correct manner or blueprint for all Dhamma practitioners to follow in this regard? Yes, we need chanting. We need meditation. We need rituals, but not only one. So it's a practice of all. At the same time, you are more focused on the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? That is our blueprint. This is very interesting. What is the required level of right effort? Is right effort and effortless effort? Too much care for the Dhamma practice poses laziness, at the same time, restlessness. All right. Now, for many of you, when you understand why has my Dhamma practice being hard, could come from an overestimation, probably an overdoing of the virya part. That means energy or effort. We have a couple words in suttas for effort. I would say virya is one word, energy. And then a very, very interesting, I would say a lofty word about this virya is vayam, samma vayam. Samma vayam. Samma vayam means right effort. So there are people who practice miccha vayam, wrong effort. Wrong effort means when somebody practices effort in order not to develop kusala and to remove akusala, to prevent akusala, to create more kusala, that could be a miccha vayam. Now in Buddhism, does the Buddha talk about any hardcore practice that the harder you are, then the better you are, I mean, in terms of your Dhamma practice. Buddha never talks about that kind of a hard-working practice in the Dhamma. I remember a lot of stories, and you might say they might have done a lot of good karmas in past lives, of course. But a lot of stories say that there were certain instant moments where people understood the Dhamma. One very good example is the son of the Anathapindika. What was his name? The great banker who offered Jetavanaram. Many of you might have gone to India and especially visited this temple. The place was offered by Anathapindika, also partially by the Jeta, Prince Jeta. But Anathapindika's son was not into Dhamma. He is a playful person. So one day, the banker told his son, Kala, can you go to the vihara and listen to a Dhamma talk? So he said, yes, I would go, but I need money. The banker said, okay, I would give you some money to go to the vihara. So he went there, he sat down, and then he came back and got the money from the father. So the father, Anathapindika, thought, I would need to make another plan, devise a plan for him to actually listen to some Dhamma and learn some Dhamma. So he said on the second day, would you go to the temple again, vihara again, and learn even one simple Dhamma thing from whoever the person, whoever the monk, giving the Dhamma. And I will double the money, which I will give you. He was very happy, so he went to the vihara. That day, the Buddha was giving a Dhamma talk. So he knew that this person would pick up the first Dhamma thing and then would not pay attention to the rest of the, Dhamma teachings. So he made him not only to pick up one particular Dhamma talk, Dhamma teaching. So he made him to synthesize, understand the whole Dhamma talk. At the end of the Dhamma talk, it is said that Kala, the son of Anathapindika, became a Sota. How come someone who went for money to listen to a Dhamma talk become a Sota? He hasn't practiced anything. Of course, I don't think he was surrounded by Kalyana Mitras. If he had, then they would have done something to him. But that instant moment, probably with the support of the Buddha. So that means there are people who have gone through these spiritual attainments without any effort. So that itself shows effort should be understood in a proper way. So in the Buddha's teachings, especially the Sutta teachings, we don't find out that there is an extreme effort. Because if you put lots of effort, unnecessary effort, as I said earlier, you will end up with restlessness. You are too excited about doing the dana. Right? When you are too excited, that causes you to fall away from the path. So it should be samma vayam. At the same time, you shouldn't be too much excited. You should not be too much effortful about the Dhamma practice. Of course, we can remember when some devotees come to the vihara, they are too excited, asking so many questions. To understand that. They have lots of efforts. They have extra efforts. They have gone beyond the required level of efforts about the Dhamma practice, especially even that particular event. So, the Buddhist practice is an effortless practice. That is something that you have to practice without being too much effortful, without being too lazy. You have to find the middle way between. Which Dhamma journey is the most smoothest and most balanced? That is an interesting question. How can we understand that there is a Dhamma journey that is very smooth and then very balanced? We have a Pali word for balance. Anybody remembers this Pali word? Upekha, right? Upekha means balance. Right? Now you might see there is an Abhidhamma word called Tatra Majjatata. Well, Tatra Majjatata is kind of a minimal version of Upekka. It's an Abhidhamma word. So I will more focus on the suttas. So in Upekka, you are not moved by attraction and repulsion. You are in a moderate place where you are going to understand what is happening. So it's the Dhamma practice. You are not too much moved by certain what you call urgency about. Some people might say you should have Sangvega, Sangvega, Sangvega. Well, I mean, we all have a certain level of Sangvega, spiritual urgency, but we should not bring it to that kind of a very much seriousness, because then you might bring lots of what you call uddhacha, restlessness, that will not help us be mindful and aware about what's happening, too excited about it. So there is a very smooth, balanced Dhamma journey. And I will talk about that with a sutta. The sutta is called Sona Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 6.55, you can see it, Sona Sutta. I quote these places. One day, monk Sona had this kind of thought. Ye ho keti bhagavatu savaka aradha viriya viharanti. Aham tesam anyataru. Atachapana mena anupadaya ase vehi chittang vimucchati. Sangvijjanti kopaname kule bhoga sakha bhoga cha bunjitum punyani chakanta. Yanunaham sikham pachakaya hinaya vattitva bhogecha bunjeyam punyani chakarya. So Bhante Sona was one of the very much effortful monks during the Buddhist time, Shakyamuni Buddhist time. But he was not able to manage his thoughts. We call them vitakkas. So one day he thought, I better go back to home, because I have lots of inheritance from my mother and father. I go and do more good karmas. At the same time, Buddha felt this thought. It is said that he came to this place, and then the Buddha wanted to stop him going back to the house. And he wanted to tell Bhante Sona that there is something wrong in your practice. The way how you are doing your practice could be wrong, could be not nice. That means it's not smooth. I think it's hard. So he brought up a very interesting example. He actually focused on Bhante Sona's lay life career. He was a musician, veena player. So the example was this, as you can see here. I will only take the English translation. What do you think, Sona, before when you were a house dweller, gihi person, lay person, were you skilled at playing the veena? Yes, Bhante, sir. And what do you think when the strings of your veena were too tight? Was your veena in tune and playable? Look at this word, achayata. Now, how do we understand this to our Dhamma practice? When you are practicing Dhamma too seriously, but too excited, you are doing too much. You are doing too much on one particular thing. Let's take very interesting dimensions of our Noble Eightfold Path practice. Let's take you are only doing sila. You are only focused on sila, only precepts. No samadhi. Maybe only samadhi. No panya is what you really expect. Maybe you have ended up with sila. Maybe you have ended up with samadhi, and you are not going to panya. Right? So these are the issues. Let's say now the example that the Buddha is trying to say is that when you are too tight in your veena practice, if your strings are too tight, you won't get the tune. In the same way, if you are too tight, that means if you are too, I would say, too much into your practice, you are not making anything out of that. Now, say for instance, there might be somebody who might practice only one thing too much. Actually, when somebody is to practice one particular virtue too much means that person has not really understood what that practice is. A very good example is Atta Kilamatanu Yoga. Right? Atta Kilamatanu Yoga, one of the extremes which the Shakyamuni Buddha, ascetic Siddhartha, left. What is Atta Kilamatanu Yoga? Atta Kilamatanu Yoga means clinging to the sila. On a very refined word, we have this called Silabbata Paramas. Right? You think that Sila is the only thing that will give me everything. Sila is there to make you calm and then to go to the Samadhi. Right? So, now here, when the Buddha asked the question from Patisota that, were you able to get a good tuning when your strings were too tight? He said, no. Now the application to our side is, if our practice is too tight, if we are overdoing a certain virtue, that is what the section means to us here. And then he asked the opposite side. And what do you think when the strings of your veena were too slack or too loose? Was your veena in tune and playable? No. What does it mean? Now the strings, the idea of someone is to play a veena with too soft, maybe too slack, too loose, would be a practice of somebody who is not doing enough, right? Probably there is someone who is over practicing sila, and there is somebody who is merely practicing. There's somebody who is over practicing samadhi, and there's somebody who is merely practicing samadhi. And there is somebody who is practicing what you call, who is over practicing saddha, right? Trusting about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and somebody who is over practicing saddha. That saddha is very unwise. The Buddha said our saddha has to be very inquiry-based, right? So you can see that in every place. Even if you see karuna, compassion, right? Buddha asks us to practice all these virtues with some kind of smartness. Sometimes you are going to be very compassionate to a wrong person. Yes, we have to be compassionate to everybody. But sometimes you are going to be compassionate to a wrong person. At the wrong time, you'll be very vulnerable. And finally, you end up with a thought, I would never be compassionate again. See where you ended up. So you need a level of smartness, how to practice these virtues, right? So the slackening or loosening of the strings could be very similar to a very, I would say, low practice, probably inadequate practice of a certain virtue. Overdoing is compared to tightness of the strings in the way how somebody can place. So that tightness is what you call by the hardness of your practice. Your practice will become hard when you are overdoing it. Because when you overdo it, when you are too much onto it, what will happen is that causes restlessness. That is not a good thing. And then the solution here is, and what do you think when the strings of your veena were neither too tight or too loose, but tuned to be right on pitch? Was your veena in tune and playable? Yes, Bhante. And then this section is very interesting. Here the Buddha says, in the same way, Sona, when energy is too forceful, doing too much, it leads to restlessness. When energy is too slack, too low, it leads to laziness. Here this is called Uddacha. This is called Tinami. So Sona, you should apply yourself to energy and serenity, find a balance of the faculties and learn the pattern of the situation. Interestingly, Indriyancha Samatang Pativicca. That means a balance of the faculties. Now let me ask you a question. Very interesting question. What are the faculties that the Buddha is talking here? What faculties do you know? You might know eyes, ears, nose, tongue, mind, body. What could be the faculties that which the Buddha might be talking over here? They are not the physical sense faculties. They are the spiritual faculties. What are they? Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Trust about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Saddha. Viriya, energy. Sati, awareness. Samadhi, concentration. Panya, wisdom. So the idea here is that if somebody is overdoing one of these, not practicing in a certain, I would say, on a certain range, with a balance, that person is definitely going to make his or her Dhamma journey very hard. From that point onwards, that person's Dhamma journey is stagnated, but still that person might go to Vihara, do certain things, but the inner aspect of his or her Dhamma journey is not transformative. It's not going, it's not, moving toward the next level. So Buddha clearly says that you have to practice Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya moderately. Not one or the other, right? Someone might pick Saddha over the rest. Some might pick Viriya over the rest. Someone might pick Samadhi over the rest. Someone might pick Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Sati over the rest. Someone might pick Panya over the rest. Now, could you think about somebody who might pick Sati over the rest? Are those people who only think a physical meditation is the key to everything? Then that person forgets about Saddha, Viriya, Samadhi, Panya. That practice is stuck. You may go to many places, you may practice it all the time, but it is stuck. Somebody might think, no, I don't want to do meditation, I don't want to do effort, I don't want to do concentration, I only do a Saddha. I go and chant only. I have my only chanting practice at home. That person is also stuck in his or her practice. So we need these five adequately at the same time. So this is a very good teaching for us given by the Buddha in this Sona Sutta in how we can stop our Dhamma journey getting hard. And then making it a making it a very fluid, continuous, constant, seamless practice and smooth practice. This is what we want. We don't want to get stuck in Sati. We don't want to get stuck in Saddha. We don't want to get stuck in Virya. We don't want to get stuck in Panya. This Panya is not that lofty Panya, okay? Don't get mistaken. The Panya that we understand in the higher teaching is not that Panya. This is the basic understanding about your path and practice. All right, let's move on to a very interesting Dhammapada stanzas, two Dhammapada stanzas, where I'm going to tell you that it doesn't matter how much you know at a certain level of your Dhamma practice. What matters is your practice. It is like, this is something I always tell people who are learning under me. You might record the Dhamma talk. You might watch on YouTube later. You might take down notes. But what is happening after a sutta sharing or a Dhamma talk is you bringing the seed back to home. But are you planting it there? Are you planting the seed? How do we understand the planting part? Planting part is the application. You might, so how many seeds you might have brought back home from many Dhamma talks, from many Bhantes? You bring the seeds back home and then keep somewhere, right? You don't plant it. How do we plant the seed of the Dhamma? What do you call? Practice. So the practice has to be done without being soft and then without being hard. So these two stanzas are very important about Dhamma learning. Bahum piche sahitam bhasamano natakkaro koti naropamattu gopo vagavo ganayam paresan nabhagava samanya samurti. Dhammapada, verse 19 and 20. So it doesn't matter how much you know at a certain level of your Dhamma practice. Still, it matters in a certain way, because if you are ignorant about Dhamma teachings, you may not be able to practice it. But it is not just the knowledge of the Dhamma. Then all the scholars of the Dhamma would have been enlightened folks, which of course do not happen then. So it is mostly about the ability to have been able to put them into practice, even in little bits of that knowledge, right? Otherwise, the Buddha says, if you don't do so, it is like you are someone who is only, he has an example, a cowherd. There's a cowherd who is counting other people's cows at the end of the day. You have to count your own cows, right? So in order for you to really benefit from the Dhamma practice, the application has been the best. That is why we should not get hard on the Dhamma practice. Now I'm going to discuss about the reasons behind somebody's practice getting hard, somebody's practice getting stuck. Let's see what they are and what are the solutions that you can follow in order to overcome. All right, number one, neglecting the fact that the Dhamma practice is a synthesis of numerous virtues. For a simple Dhamma practice, one must perform 4 Brahma Viharas. In general, in other example is Saddha and Panya. To succeed on Dhamma path, they must coexist. All right. Now, as I said earlier, the Buddha clearly mentions that spiritual faculties must be followed simultaneously. You might start one by one, but when you master them, you will practice them together. A lot of people only cherry pick certain practices. So don't do that. That is the biggest issue. That is the biggest failure behind your Dhamma path is getting hard. So you have to understand, as I already mentioned to you, when you practice a Noble Eightfold Path, that is your Dhamma journey, do not only practice one particular thing. You have to start from the beginning, Sammaditthi, and then Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. When you come to a certain level of growth in your practice of these 8, then you practice them together. How do you get into this path? There's another very important virtue that you have to practice, all the time. What is it? Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention. Without practicing wise attention, you may not be able to go to practice Sammaditthi. Because what is wise attention? Wise attention means that you are able to trace everything down to its origin, down to their origins, backward and then the forward. Now, let's say you are going to understand your life, the experience, the full range of experience in your life. So you will have to go to the bottom of your experience. For most people who are becoming unwise in their attention, they have not tracing their experience down to their origin. They have traced only to probably the middle of that phenomenon. So the Buddha says you must start the practice, Noble Eightfold Path practice, from wise attention. It will help you to go to Sammaditthi and the rest, and finally you practice them together. So the first problem that why a lot of people's Dhamma practice is getting hard is because they cherry pick. They prefer certain virtues, especially, maybe Samma Sati. That is why they are getting stuck primarily in their practice, right? So never ever cherry pick, practice all together understand this is a combined practice. It's an integrated practice, right? That's the first one, first issue. And then a couple other sub things that I wanted to mention is that you don't have to hurry in your Dhamma journey, rush in your Dhamma journey. It's not an overnight journey, right? It takes time. And do not bring some of the springs attached to your practice. Just practice it. It will take you, that wisdom will take you to the growth. You will feel by yourself. Then, disregarding, the second reason, disregarding the foundational teachings of early Buddhism and instead relying on Pali commentaries and Abhidhamma for instruction. What does it mean? Now, do I say Abhidhamma is incorrect, Pali commentaries are incorrect? No, that's not the point here. There are lots of good teachings. But if somebody is to learn, if somebody is to base one's Dhamma journey of practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, supported, preceded by the wise attention, only from Abhidhamma or Pali commentaries, it's not going to work because they have been compiled after the Sutta Pitaka. Plus, we accept at the moment that you have to understand the path from the first four Nikayas. So please pay more attention to the first four Nikayas of the Sutta Pitaka and particularly important suttas, because they are very valuable before you read additional readings like Abhidhamma and commentaries. That is the second reason why a lot of people get stuck, because all these books have lots of information, isn't it? If you read even a small segment of one of these books, there are lots of information. So what you need is the concise, true version of what it is. So four Nikayas are more than enough. You don't need to, I mean, if you have more time, you can go later, but initially, the first four Nikayas. And what is happening in that issue, in that mistake of many, is that they adopt incorrect Dhamma teachings concerning the practices fundamentals. That's an interesting one. Can you think about one example for this? Any thoughts? Now, as we understand, in the Sutta Pitaka, especially in the Satipatthana Sutta and two Satipatthana Suttas, and then the suttas that are talking about the Four Noble Truths, Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha does not bring Samatha Vipassana division of the mindfulness into the right mindfulness. Right? When he describes Samma Sati under most of the very major primary suttas, including Satipatthana Sutta, do you see Samatha and Vipassana in these suttas? Have you ever seen? Buddha does not mention. So Samatha Vipassana have been categorized as two meditation methods by Pali commentaries and sometimes in Abhidhamma. And you see some of the suttas where you see Samatha Vipassana, but the major suttas, especially in the Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, they are not mentioning Samatha and Vipassana. Now, someone without understanding this going to pick that division in the first place and thinking Samma Sati is Samatha and Vipassana. How incorrect is that understanding, right mind? But what the Buddha says is that right mindfulness, if we see it clearly, it apparently has Samatha part and Vipassana. Samatha Vipassana are not two meditation. Samatha Vipassanas are two stages of right mindfulness. How do you understand that? That means you have to read from the beginning, from the major primary suttas. Otherwise, if you pick from the Vipassana schools, Burmese schools in the 18th, 19th century, on the Pali commentaries from Abhidhamma, you might be confused, right? So the first thing here, I give you an example, that adopting incorrect frameworks, not incorrect teachings, they are also good in a way, but adopting incorrect frameworks into your practice. You have to adopt a correct framework into your. Now, one example is right mindfulness, right? So this is one very good example. There are many examples, but I'm not giving because of the time. See here, I have mentioned that meditation is a wonderful example. The original teachings of the Buddha only mention right mindfulness, samma sati, not samatha and vipassana. But there is a sutta in Anguttara Nikaya called Yuganadha Sutta. In this sutta, Buddha says, samatha and vipassana could be the nature of the meditation, but he does not particularly divide them. If he really wanted to do that, he would have done in the Satipatthana Suttas. He would have done in Dhammacakkappavattana, done it in the Saccayabanga Sutta. He would have done in the very interesting one, Mahachattara Sutta. So this is one very good example of understand the correct framework of your Dhamma practice. I'm not saying they are wrong, incorrect teachings, samatha vipassana. What I'm saying is that the correct framework comes from these early suttas. Huh? So if you don't know, your practice will be hard and not smooth. Third reason, lack of understanding of the Dhamma context in Pali. Okay, I talk about a couple of examples. The main challenge is the inability to read and comprehend the teaching source accurately. Now, this is very interesting. I always say there are people who translate Pali texts, but the problem is the translations. Now, one very famous translation that has gone wrong is that a saying that everyone who has not attained arahanthood can be considered as mentally sick people. Buddha never says such a thing. How do we know that? We have to go to the sutta itself. The Buddha says, it is rare to find a mentally healthy person other than an arahant. So that means the source has not been correctly understood. The particular source has not been correctly read by the person. So the English translation is, everybody who has not attained Nibbana, they are mentally sick people. Would you like to accept that? There are people who write a lot of books, even scholarly books. So no and rare are two terms. We call it Dullabha is rare. No means no. No means no, but rare means there could be somebody, right? There could be a mentally healthy person who has not become arahant, right? So that means it's a big issue when people read the source incorrectly. How does this happen? A lack of knowledge of Pali about the context of that particular sutta. Now, what do I ask from you? Do you think I'm going to ask you, hey, go study from a Pali class? Go to a Pali class. Is that the solution for that problem? Many Pali classes, they say, I always say this funny example. Vanaro rukhamha patadiya. The monkey falls from the tree. I mean, you learn Pali language as a language. Now here what I'm saying is that learning Pali only to understand the suttas, Dhamma. So it is very important to understand, read the Pali text correctly. If you read incorrectly, it might have given you lots of misunderstanding. It's like a inscription. Like the historians go and read certain letters, the Pallavi Aksharas, Brahmi Aksharas. What if they read wrongly? So everybody is going to depend on these texts, right? So one very big issue about not understanding the Pali context is the misreading, misunderstanding about the text. There are many such places in the Pali suttas where you find as such. Recently, I found out a very interesting one. You know, the defilements, the word defilement. A lot of people use this. I have defilements. What are your defilements? What is the Pali word? Kilesa. Did the Buddha use this word? Kilesa. Tell me, where is the place? What are the sutta references where Buddha used the word, Pali word, kilesa, K-I-L-E-S-A. The Buddha used upakilesa. UPA preceded by, kilesa. But English translation goes by defilements, and the word kilesa comes especially in the commentaries and the Abhidhamma. Upakilesa means we normally translate, at least to understand the context, as impurity. Impurities of the mind. Now, defilements could be that you are going to corrupt the existing state of something. So even you use it can't be the proper meaning of the upakilesa. So as such, there are a lot of misreading of the Pali text. That means, I know many of you only read English translations to understand them. That means don't know where you have ended up in your Dhamma practice. It's a big issue. So the third issue behind your Dhamma practice may have been hard is that the lack of understanding of the Dhamma context in Pali. In order to overcome this issue, it is very interesting to follow a good teacher, whoever, layperson or a monastic, who understands the Pali context, right? Because English and Pali context, they have lots of differences, right? So that is something for you to think about. Poor English, once again, poor English and other language translations of Pali texts are dukkha. This is an interesting word, huh? Dukkha. How do many people translate this dukkha? They only translate this word as suffering. What a bad translation is that. Dukkha has suffering at a certain level, but dukkha cannot be primarily translated as suffering. Right? You could translate this to be a dissatisfaction, unsatisfaction. They could not be the better ones, but at least something conveying from the minimum, starting versions. But if you translate dukkha all the time as suffering, it is a wrong translation. This is one word. Then another Pali word is upakilesa, which I just mentioned. And samma. What is samma? Samma is normally translated as right. Right? And right is also a very loaded word. It could be the jurisprudence, it could be somebody's thought. Right could go to somebody in his or her own version, right? So we have to understand the proper Pali context for these Pali words, at the same time, the teachings. All right, so we go to the next, probably the last two. Not being able to find a suitable teacher. This is a fourth issue behind your Dhamma practice might have got hard. The right teacher must be fluent in both early Buddhist texts and the practice. He or she should not form her own opinion about the early Buddhist texts. This is interesting. When somebody is giving a Dhamma talk, presenting Dhamma, he or she should never bring his or her opinions in the form of Dhamma. Can say this is my opinion, but should not bring opinions just to clarify Dhamma. So we are trying, because there are so many ways to explain this Dhamma actually from Dhamma itself. So you should, I hope you should be lucky enough to find such teachers in your own locality places. It's something very important. Huh? The last reason where you might not have done well in your practice, becomes good, being unable to surround yourself with Kalyana Mittas. Kalyana Mittas. An additional reason the spiritual path is so difficult is that we try to follow it alone. How many of you think that it is enough for you to practice by yourself? A solo practice is enough. Solo practice is not enough. That is why the Buddha said we need Kalyana Mittas to be surrounded by us. Because Kalyana Mittas can help us, give us the inspiration, give us the encouragement. Who is a Kalyana Mitta? Kalyana Mitta is someone who is always acting in good ways, good activities, no panadipata, no adinadana, no kamasumichachara, and speaks good words all the time, no musavada, no parusavacha, no sampappalapa, no visunavacha. and always thinks good thoughts. No abhicca, no vyapada, no miccha. This is a kalyan. It's not just the one who is giving you a ride to the vihara. Not that simple person. Only if that person has these qualities, yes. So we need kalyana. That is why the Buddha said, even when you listen to a Dhamma talk by a monastic, it is also happening because of the kalyana mitra. Otherwise, you might say, no, I don't want to listen to Dhamma talks. I can read. I have books. Now, the problem is the translation. What are you going to read? What if the translations, because many of you don't know Pali, what if you only buy certain books and start reading the wrong translations and then think that you know Dhamma? That is why you need a good teacher. Good teacher is a Kalyana Mitra himself also. And the second reason why this is an important thing is that conversely, there may be a lack of awareness regarding the process of finding the right people to offer us. Although you need to find Kalyana Mitras, just because you need to find them, you might not be able to find them because your attitude might be different. They might not like you also, right? So you have to adjust your attitude, change your mindset, become more Dhamma friendly so that the good people will come to you, right? Although you understand you need to let Kalyana Mitras come to you. And finally, lack of inspiration for practice, but only learning Dhamma without practicing. So we need to have lots of inspiration from the Dhamma practice. Because when you are alone, you may struggle with lots of thoughts, maybe negative, mostly. But when you are doing things together, I mean, Dhamma work, probably Dharana practice, meditation, then there is a very minimal chance of you getting caught up with a lot of akusala thoughts. All right, so the idea of the Dhamma, of somebody's Dhamma practice can be hard, comes from a practice that has not properly streamlined, channeled through the Dhamma teachings as well as the other important necessities like Dhamma teacher, Kalyana Mitras, and also from some technical reasons like not understanding the Pali context, not having an ability to understand certain important Pali context in Pali way, not in English way. English has its own way in the Pali way itself. So these are the reasons why this has been happening to many. So what you have to do is that go back to the Sona Sutta, the one who was asked a question about the Veena. The Buddha said, you can't get the desirable tune when you are playing the Veena with the strings too tight or with the strings too loose. Then you have to perfectly balance them. That means for the Dhamma practice, Buddha is suggesting Bhante Sona and even for everybody of us to have a moderative practice of Dhamma through our spiritual faculties. So our spiritual faculties must be improved, deepened in a certain moderate way. Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya has to be practiced in moderation. Now, earlier you might have heard that you have to practice eating. You have to eat in moderation. You have to sleep in moderation. You have to work in moderation. You have to study in moderation. Now, the Buddha said, even when you are going to practice good things, spiritual activities, you must have a moderation. If you don't have a moderation, you may have ended up with certain places where you are thoroughly stuck, utterly stuck. You can't even get out of that thing, actually. All right, so I'm inviting you to think about your Dhamma practice in not overdoing any of these five. Practice Saddha, practice Sila, practice Virya, Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, in moderation, not overdoing them, not doing less, not doing too much, not doing less, doing more. There are two ends, polar ends of this issue. If you practice them in a moderation, equally, probably, then you are going to have a very smooth, seamless, fluid, and continuing practice. All right, I think the next could be the questions. If you have any Q&A questions, you could ask the questions according to the way.
Thank you very much, Bhante. I must say it was very insightful, and also I found it very valuable. And I'm one of those guilty as charged I mean, a very natural tendency is to cherry pick what you like, and then the tendency to overdo it. So I am very sure that Bhante has piqued the interest of all of us following in this Zoom room, as well as on Facebook Live. So to post your questions, those in the Zoom room, please turn on your video so that we can see your raised hands. And please unmute yourself to post your questions. As for those following on Facebook, please type your questions in the comment section and we will read it out. Okay, so we welcome questions from both the Zoom room as well as Facebook Live. Any questions?
Yes, Brother Cole, please go ahead.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, Bhante, Namo Buddhaya,
Good
and
evening.
Happy New Year to Bhante and everyone,
New Year
brothers and
too.
sisters. It's good to see everyone here. I would like to maybe follow up on brother's comment earlier on cherry picking. I think this is quite a common, I guess, challenge for many of us. I wanted to maybe highlight one of the challenges that I find present in myself and other people as well. Perhaps, Bhante, when you mentioned about how many of us, we sometimes cherry pick the virtues or the particular aspects of the Dhamma that we want to practice, and we might neglect some other virtues or some other parts of the practice. Is it possible for us to also cherry pick certain suttas or certain scriptural passages that we might prioritize and neglect certain other passages or scriptures or suttas that might be important or might be relevant to our practice? So maybe Bhante could comment on that. Yes.
Under a certain teacher, you will be asked to read certain suttas, that these are more valuable for your practice. I think none of you have time to read all these suttas. Plus, I'm not saying they are not important. They are important in their own uniqueness, but they might not be beneficial for you in your journey at that time. So when the teacher, you are asking, it is not a self-picking. You are asked to refer to certain suttas. So you learn from that teacher and you are reading. So I don't think that such a request itself means that you have to neglect the rest of the suttas. You have respect for those suttas, but I would take it as a very custom-tailored advice given by that Bhante or whoever, right? It's like that you are going to do a research on physics and your research will be quantum physics. It doesn't mean that you neglect the rest of the areas of physics, right? You have respect, but because of you have to limit your research topic, you have to work on that. But when it comes to Dhamma practice, I think it is not a negligence or any neglecting thing at all. It's just because it's a custom-made advice for you by a certain Bhante. That makes sense?
Yeah. Definitely, that was very helpful. Thank you, Bhante. Maybe just to follow up, I'm thinking of something like, I guess it relates to Bhante's Dhamma talk and comment about how some people neglect certain aspects or certain parts of the practice. Because when we sometimes only pay attention to certain suttas, and we might, I guess, neglect related suttas as well, that might factor into the imbalance. That might contribute to the imbalance, or that might contribute to our neglecting of some of those aspects or some of those virtues that are mentioned in those other suttas. I'm not sure if that happens often, but yeah.
If a devotee is going to do that without a proper consultation of a Bhante or whoever, I think it's not good. Then you may have disrespect for certain areas of the practice. Now, let's take it in a very simple way. As I said at the beginning, someone might think a mere chanting practice is good for me. Why is it? The Buddha said in one sutta, chanting is the only thing that can help you. And then the rest is not my cup of tea, that's not mine. That is going to be a misunderstanding. I think that will really disturb that person's practice in terms of the Dhamma journey. I mean, so that is one very good example. But we talk about from the sutta aspect, if the advice was given by a proper person in the right way, in the proper way, I don't think it is a kind of a disrespect because of the vast area of the Dhamma things. The teacher understands your level, right? The teacher has to understand the way how you react, the way how you respond, your behavior. So I think it's a custom-tailored advice. It is not at all a kind of a neglecting thing, but that kind of practice, like only doing a chanting, only doing dana. Dana alone is the only thing I do. I don't care about other things. This kind of a mentality is really troubling, disturbing someone's path, because while you are giving dana, you have to practice the rest of things too. Because it is not only the dana, there are many other virtues. So you have to bring them together. My suggestion here is that practice qualities together, because this is not a stand-alone practice. This is a practice, combined practice. So it is a integrated, combined practice. But people are always preferring certain things. Our human mind, it is like that you are finding somebody. I like only this person, right? So when they come to certain spiritual practices, they are developing certain special liking. I think that might be good at the beginning, because as a starter, because you might have heard some people making Bhante, I come to this temple because I like chanting. Yes, it's good. That is your entry point. But now you already have the liking, you already have the starter. Now you have to practice together. This is how it should work. Otherwise, for the past 20, 30 years, the only thing they have been doing is that particular activity. So that is not really benefiting them. If you really look at these things, really a waste of time. I mean, in the sense of not wasting doing other things. I mean, looking at the larger, broader practice of Dhamma.
Right. Thank you very much,
Bhante.
brother. Bhante, there's a question here from Facebook. Bhante, may I know what is the right practice or definition of Sama as in the Noble Eightfold Path?
May I know the right translation?
No, it's just the definition of Sama.
Sama. Okay,
as in right.
Samma to many readings would be wholesome. I would say skillful. Now, if you say Samma Vacha, somebody might say right speech, but if you ask from a jurisprudence legal perspective, right speech could be a certain limited definition. So, but we use the word right, like mindfulness. Sati is not mindfulness, right? Because in meditation, you are emptying your thoughts. Then how come you're going to take it as only mindfulness? Mindful. So in awareness practice, you have to sometimes fill the mind with certain qualities You have to empty the mind with certain things. So sati practice is both emptying the mind and filling the mind. Then how come you're going to use only one definition of that practice? So even though mindfulness is not the proper wording for sati, but we still use it because many people know that. But if you really ask me the Pali context, it couldn't be the proper translation. Coming back to Samma, we use the word right, but it is not a good translation. So we would say skillful word, because our words are very unskillful all the time. Like our raw words are always probably lying, hurting other people, gossiping, Unless we do a certain effort, right, only we can make our words skillful. So I would say Samma can be rendered as, translated as wholesome or skillful rather than right. Yeah. Because skillful or wholesome definition onto the certain 8 parts, Ditti, Sankappa, Vacha, Kammanta, Ajiva, and Samadhi, really make the part really unique onto the goal.
Okay, that was a question from Facebook. Are there any more questions from the Zoom room?
May I ask the questions?
Yes, Sister Hema.
Bhante, I'd like to know, I'm curious to know, those Parita chanting in the chanting book, like Ratana Sutta, Mangala Sutta, and all those Sutta Bojjhanga, all that, is it exactly the words come from the Nikaya? Is it the exact content that come to the Parita chanting? I have not read through the Nikaya yet.
All right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether is it the exact word come from our chanting in Ratana Sutta?
The exact what?
Words. The exact words when we do the chanting in the Parita chanting.
You are asking me whether the chanting book suttas are originally precisely coming from the text themselves.
Yes, that's why I'm curious.
Yes, but let me explain to you. Now the problem is the word paritta. Now paritta means protection. Yes. How come only few suttas were cherry picked for protection? What happened to the rest of the suttas? Are they less protective? Or are these particular chanting book suttas are more protective? This is the question here. So I would rather say, yes, this book was compiled by the Mahavihara monks in Anuradhapura in Sri Lanka, long time, probably the 1st century. So yes, many suttas in the chanting book come from Nikaya text. But now the additional chantings, I don't want to mention them because I don't want to disrespect anybody's chanting, may come from certain Mahayana perspectives too.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think because Sri Lanka had both Mahayana and Theravada. Theravada comes from Sri Lanka. In the 7th and 8th century, Sri Lanka had a very vibrant Mahayana tradition, Tantrayanas. So there were some chantings that have crept onto the chanting book, I mean, as the follow-up suttas at the end. So they are not coming from the Sutta Pitaka, okay? They are from those different other Mahayana. It's okay. I mean, if it is good, it is okay. It's a protection. But now we are talking about our Dhamma journey, not our protection journey. Yeah? We are talking about the Dhamma journey. So for Dhamma journey, we are looking at the suttas from the first 4 Nikayas. Of course, Mahamangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta. Actually, Mahamangala Sutta comes in the Kuddaka Nikaya, not from the first 4 Nikaya. Ratana Sutta also comes in the Kuddaka Nikaya, Kuddaka Pata. Karaniya Metta Sutta also comes from Kuddaka Pata, Kuddaka Nikaya. But Bojjhangas are coming from the Samyutta Nikaya, Bojjhanga Samyutta.
Okay.
Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta come from Samyutta Nikaya, Dhyana Samyutta.
Thank you. Bhante,
Yes.
thank you.
So when you look at the Kuddaka Nikaya, I'm not saying that the whole Kuddaka Nikaya cannot be considered as original Buddhism. I would say many sections, there are certain sections that can still be considered as original Nikaya Buddhism, but there are many that have been added later on. Because when you have the teachings at at hand, why do we go to the certain teachings of Khuddaka Nikaya? Some teachings come in the Khuddaka Nikaya Sutta.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Thank
Now,
you
for
for
example, Jayamangala Gatha, everybody
Yeah.
knows, huh? Bahung Sahasam Abhining, where is it mentioned? It was compiled by Thai monks in Thailand.
Oh.
You don't see it in the Sutta Pitaka. This is why we have to go back and understand what it is, And then the pouring water ceremony, it's good now.
Transfer of merits.
It is coming from Thailand, and now Sri Lanka has it too. Because there was a German monk who did a research about the Sri Lankan Buddhist manuscripts that are in the Sri Lankan viharas 10 years ago. When I looked at the palm leaves manuscript that he found out, the majority of them are from Burma and Siamese Kingdom, Thailand. Now, what happened to these early texts that the Sri Lanka claims in the Mahavansa Chronicles? Now, I think the earliest palm leaf manuscript they have is the 13th or 14th century. They don't have anything beyond that, earlier text. They say the Portuguese, Dutch, English came and when they colonized time, they burnt. Or the palm leaf manuscript cannot be maintained so long. So the canon that we see in Sinhalese letters, now the Tipitaka that you see in the Sri Lankan temples, when you see the abbreviations of those big Tipitaka books, most of the manuscript that the scholars and the scholarly monks consulted were from the Burmese, Myanmar, and Thai manuscripts. So the 17th century, the Buddhism was almost what you call died down in Sri Lanka in 17th century. Then the Sri Lankan kings at that time sent missionaries through the VOC Dutch company to Thailand. And then Venerable Upali came, and that is how the new Buddhism in Sri Lanka was started. But still they say different things. I'm not saying that they don't have it. They have certain sections, but the Buddhism in the 17th century in Sri Lanka was kind of very under threat. So most of the manuscripts that they have now, mostly from Thai and Burmese teachings, Burmese versions actually. So anyways, you have to find out the source. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
Okay, Bhante, there's another question from Facebook. This is a question on meditation, and this is from Sister Ho. How could we progress from samatha meditation to vipassana meditation within the hour of our practice?
Within the harbor?
Within the hour, the 1 hour of our practice.
Okay. Now the thing is that I already told you in the early suttas of the Nikaya, Buddha does not separate meditation into samatha and vipassana.
Yeah.
Who made it? It is mainly made by the commentaries in the Visuddhimagga, Pali commentary written by Bhante Buddhaghosh in Sri Lanka, long time after, and some of the other texts later. So now what is samatha, what is vipassana? Actually, even though Buddha did not recognize them as two meditations under Sammasati, but the way how he asks us to practice meditation primarily is samatha. But don't practice samatha, practice right mindfulness, because the right mindfulness has itself samatha and vipassana. Because you're first starting from jhanas. I mean, you are going to overcome 5 hindrances, kama, chanda, vyapada, tinamidda, uddhacca, kucca, vicikiccha. Then you are slowly walking towards the vipassana aspects, trying to understand everything is changeable. Because it's changeable, if you don't accept the changes, you are into dissatisfaction. When you are not into dissatisfaction, you are not able to see that I, me, myself is an illusion, and you are taking I as me, I, me, myself. So I think they all are connected, samatha to vipassana. So I cannot say that, was the question asked in a way, 1 hour meditation practice?
Yeah, talking about within the hour.
All right. So I would say if you are aiming for an hour practice, you could probably go for samatha for at least 20 minutes, because some people can be easily hitting on the what you call calmness very fast. If you are not, then you can go for 30 minutes. And then the rest of the 30 minutes, they can go for vipassana, right? So, yeah, so for the first 30 minutes could be for samatha. The rest of the 30 minutes could be for vipassana. But the thing is that that particular person might miss out on the samma sati if you only think about samatha vipassana, because samatha vipassana meditations will not be successful if you don't practice the path from samadhi supported by yoniso manasikara. So I advise this person to think about to go beyond a certain 1 hour meditation. You need to understand the Dhamma path. Your Dhamma path starts from wise attention, and then the Eight Noble Eightfold Path components, in which at one stage you are going to practice right mindfulness. Within that, you will be developing certain elements of samatha and vipassana. It's a path. Don't cherry pick only certain things. Because if you ask me the question, I had to answer whether that question is true, right? The question might not be true because you cannot practice the meditations alone that way. You have to practice the path in which, maybe while you practice the path, there is a point that you practice right mindfulness, where you practice samatha and vipassana.
Right. Thank you very much, Bhante. I think we don't have the luxury of time because it's getting rather late already. We are very thankful and really appreciative of Bhante for actually spending time with us and for guiding us on such an essential, relevant topic. Because we all of us definitely do encounter challenges in our Dhamma journey. So before we call it a night, I would like now to request Bhante to lead us in the dedication of merits. Bhante, respectfully.
Right. Thank you, Brother Lim. And I'm going to now do the transference of merits at the same time, sharing the good karmas with Devanaga Mahidika. First, let's reflect upon all the good karmas which we have been accumulating today on the second day of the new year, with lots of blessings, as I said earlier. May all the good karmas which you've been accumulating by practicing meditation and then listening to a Dhamma talk, in particular about how not to get hard on your Dhamma journey and how to make your Dhamma journey a very continuous, smooth, constant journey. So may all these good karmas be transferred to all the departed ones who passed away in the name of all of us, especially on behalf of BMSM, any members who passed away, for working to your centers across Malaysia and outside O6. And anybody's relatives, family members who passed away, may all these departed ones be able to receive all these good karmas. If they were reborn in a place of karma dugati, painful realms, may they be able to release from those places. If they are already reborn in a place of happiness, may they be able to improve the happiness of those karma sugati, happy lives. Finally, may they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu, sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu, sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu, sukhita huntu ñātayo. May all the good karmas be shared by all the Devas, Nagas, and Mahidikas. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika be well and happy at the same time. Protect and bless all of you for good health, quality of life, prosperity, and safety. In particular, may they bless you a seamless continuous, smooth Dhamma journey. Finally, may Devanaga Mahitika also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu. Ittavataj ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti sindhya akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu lokasasana chirang rakkhantu desanang chirang rakkhantu mang paranti. In this endless sansaric journey, may we be able to be in the company of the Kalyana Mitras, which is one of the reasons why many Dhamma friends, Dhamma path is getting stuck, what you call stagnated. May you be always in the company of Kalyana Mitras. May you be able to open up for new Kalyana Mitras. Let's make a wish to make that happen. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo yavani nibbana patya. I wanted to say Anumodana to BMSM, especially Brother Lim, Brother Liao, Sister Lo, and everybody who are part of this organization and inviting me for the first Dhamma sharing in the new year. While thanking everybody, and especially Bhante Mahinda, the spiritual advisor of the center, I wanted to make the wish finally. May all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana siris nichang vaddha pachaino chataru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atu nibbana sampatti iminate saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu. Wishing you a good night. And hopefully you have a very seamless Dhamma journey throughout the year. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you
night.
very much, Bhante. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Good
Thank you,
night.
Bhante. Good night.
Bhante. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bye.
Thank you.
Happy
Good
New
night.
Year.
Good night.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Good night,
sadhu.
everyone. Good night. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a nice, blessed, awesome year. Thank you.